Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another reaction video. This reaction video, I'm going to try to keep it short. I wanted to react to a brief clip of, I don't even know what movie this is from, but I would definitely be interested in watching like the full movie. But this clip, I just want to share with you guys, and I just want to share my thoughts at the end of it. So, without further ado, let's watch the clip.
Vous allez commander quelque chose parce que sinon je vais vous ouvrir la table. Oh, les Américains.
What did she just say? Well, my friend, she's having a week. I'm pretty sure she said she loved me. Go talk to her. No. Go, honey. Go talk to her.
Камина в 6 утра, разбитая душа, и все твои обещания пустота.
Vous allez commander quelque chose?
I'll be honest with you guys about this clip. Like, I watched it and I thought about like a current situation, right? Now I know I go live and I live stream. I don't really share too much about me. And the reason for that is because when it comes down to when we talk about relationships and getting to know people and things like that, I always have like a default setting and I say that I don't really know what I'm talking about. And the reason why I say that is because when you talk about relationships, intimate relationships, right, between like a man and a woman, right? It's like there's no blueprint really. There are like no real guidelines. The best thing that you can do is put your best foot forward, have great intentions, don't have any malicious intent, right? And like communicate, right? That is what I believe in. Everything else in between, you really don't have much control over because, of course, you can't help who you fall for, right? Like, you can't help who you end up liking. And when I look at this clip, and I don't know if this part in this show or movie, this is the first time that this guy sees the girl, but for me, it's just like that. It only takes me about 10 to 15 seconds, if not sooner than that, to see a girl that I find attractive, that I am like immediately interested in, right? I know that look because I give that look. And then you're in your head about, should you say something? Should you walk up there? How are you going to approach? Is it going to make sense? Is there going to be a right moment? Right? And you go through all of the flashbacks, and this is just a snapshot without even seeing what this movie or TV show has been about, like the plot, how it ends, none of that, right? And then you see that she ends up with a different guy, and that could have been them, right? That could have been them if he would have said something. And that's how I feel. And these are the thoughts that I have when I see someone, regardless of where she is. I could see a girl in a store. I could see a girl walking around. I can see a girl in the workspace. And I have that thought, and it's like, you want to say something? Should you say something? How should you say it? When should you say it? And there's this thought in the back of my mind just based off of this clip, and it's like, we're just going to assume from face value with not a lot of details and no spoilers. If he didn't go up to the girl and say something and they shared a look, right? It makes you wonder. It's like, what happened there? Like, why not? What went wrong? Where was the lapse in communication? What's the issue there? You know? And I look at myself and I think about there's a girl at my current job, and I know I like her. I know I do. And I only spoke to her one time. And what makes it difficult is the fact that we're coworkers. She just recently started. And I looked at my situation and I said, well, Josh, you have a lot of chaos that's going on in the workspace. And you don't want to drag her into it. But then at the same time, you don't want to be quiet and not say anything. It boils me sometimes because I look at this clip and then I think of all of those possibilities, the what ifs. And it's like, well, what if she's the one? What if I say something? And this could turn into something amazing. You know, what if I don't have to go through the world, you know, without a companion, you know, like a female companion from an intimate and romantic standpoint, right? Like a partner. You know, you will always have family, but then you always want to have that more intimate connection with, you know, a girl that you're interested in, regardless of what your preferences are. I'm just talking about, you know, just a little bit about me. And then you see, she sees him years later. They lock eyes, and it's like they share the same look that they had when they first met at this scene here. And then you can tell, at least for me, that she still feels the same way. They both have the same thought seeing each other years later. That it should have been that. Like that should have been them. Or it's like, oh, she still liked them, you know? If only they would have, you know, said something. And that's why I think that movies like Yes Man with Jim Carrey and movies like Hitch with Will Smith, I think about these movies and I look at it and I'm like, the hardest part of trying to build a connection with anyone is communication. And sometimes it seems as though you just can't get that communication piece to flow no matter how hard you try. Communicating with a potential partner should not be difficult. It should be easy, right? And on top of that, you should want to talk with the person you're interested in. You should want to be able to communicate. And if you can't communicate, then the situation just won't work. Like, you can't force yourself to be around someone. You can't force yourself to communicate. Now, I know that in life, you know, we are both spiritual and then there are people who are religious, right? And they say, well, you know, you don't want to block any of your blessings. You want to be receptive to it, right? But, well, not no buts. In addition to that, you know, you want to do what comes easy to you. You want to do what comes naturally, especially when you're communicating with people. That's how you build connections with friends, and then you have like your best friends, and these are people that you're going to grow up with, right? Because these are people that even though you guys had difficult times and you had issues between each other, interpersonal issues, you were still able to communicate. Because if you cannot communicate, you do not have a relationship, you do not have a connection. You can't build anything, you can't grow anything, because you guys aren't talking. But the reason why I wanted to share my reaction to this clip is because I always have this thought in the back of my head where I say to myself, and I'll be just perfectly honest with you guys, like the girl that I'm interested in right now as we speak, I have this thing that I do where I want to be distant and I want to make myself absent, you know, scarce in the environment. But then at the same time, on the inside, like, you want to be around. And the reason I do that is because sometimes I go back and forth with my thoughts and my feelings and trying to have them be on the same page. I'm much better off with it now than I was maybe a year ago. Now I'm more in tune with that. I do want to work on that communication piece because I think that the communication piece is important. And I think that in order for me to become the person that I want to be, in order for me to continue to practice becoming the person that I want to be and to develop like the habits of, you know, the person that'll just go ahead and do the thing that I've been thinking about, I have to be able to communicate regardless of the area that I'm in, and just be respectful about, the engagement. And I think that is ultimately what's going to, continue to help me grow, especially in my interpersonal communication skills and professional, right? Like I do want to be able to communicate. And I just wanted to share this clip because the look that he gave her, just sparked a lot of thoughts and, like, memories and things that I've been thinking about right now. And because of that, I'm like, hey, if there's someone out there that you want to talk to, I think that it's a great idea to let that person know. The only thing is, the only hard part is just for you to kind of figure out how you want to deliver the message. And I think if you can be honest, truthful, and maybe a little playful with it, but respectful at the end of the day, I think it'll definitely go a long way with helping people to, like build, potential connections, especially if this is something that you see and it's like, well, this could be a good thing for me. This could be a great thing for me. It could be an excellent learning experience. I just have to, like, go for it. And I just don't want for people to do the things that I did when I was in college. I would see a girl that I would like, and I would never tell her how I felt about her. That could have been a great learning experience if I wasn't fortunate enough for that girl at the time to be a lifetime partner. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to leave you guys off with this final message and just say, if there's someone that you want to talk to, just figure out how you want to approach, figure out how you want to get that message across, and kind of just see where things go. I know people say that the worst thing that people can say is no. And, there isn't anything much worse, that's the worst thing that they can say is no, because at least that way it allows you to kind of free yourself from the thoughts and the feelings and speculations of all of those what ifs, because you got your answer. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you guys appreciated this short reaction video. I kind of let you guys in on some of the things that I have been thinking about in my personal life, but that's just a little bit because, hey, every time that I have a thought like that, I have a tendency to keep things in. But I wanted to give it a shot and kind of just let you guys in on, like a real reaction, like real, like actual thoughts and feelings that I think that other people have, because I'm sure that I'm not the only one. Well, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let me know how you guys feel about this conversation in the comments. Do you have any similar situations, any similar scenarios, any stories you're willing to share in the comments? Let me know. Without further ado, we will see you guys in the next reaction video.